AMG family, Mondo here. Hey, just wanted to make sure real quick before we get started that you guys have subscribed to the AMG Podcast channel. Go below if you can't see it, look a little, scroll down, whatever you got to do. Hit that subscribe button. It helps us immensely here at the AMG Podcast. The second thing we need you to do is turn on your notifications. That way, anytime we drop new content, you are the first to be notified. That way we can grow together. We can learn in life together and do life together. All right. So with that said, let's get to it. Hey guys, what's going on? This is Mondo with the AMG Podcast. We have a wonderful, wonderful guest for a beautiful talk today. This is my new friend that you see in the beautiful blue blouse. I didn't know you were going to wear blue, but
I know. I was
yeah. So, hey, I definitely want everyone to meet my friend, Aubrey. Man, Aubrey Zettler is a phenomenal person, phenomenal businesswoman that I want you all to know, get to know throughout this podcast in more detail. Who she is to me, then I'll let her talk. One of my associates, Gianna, found Aubrey in regards to social media management. So we're going to talk more about what she does as an entrepreneur, as social media management. It's a tongue twister. Social media management specialist. I'm gonna add names to your title here. Yeah. All right, cool. So yeah, we are, we started working together recently. We're having a blast, and we both have learned a lot about each other, our businesses, and getting our flow together. And I thought, you know what? People need to know you, Aubrey. So, hey, welcome, Aubrey. Hope you are doing well. How's it going?
I'm doing great. It's been a good week. Hopefully a good rest of the week to come.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, I know I asked you to be on the podcast, and you were like probably wondering, wow, you're my client. Yeah.
No, we have that good relationship. I feel like, you help me exactly like what you said. It's almost like a mentorship. I help you, but you help me in a lot of ways, entrepreneurial shift.
That's cool.
Everything.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I appreciate that. That's awesome. That means a lot. Okay, cool. So it's a reciprocal thing here. I like that. That is awesome. That is awesome.
Small amount of time we've known each other, I'm very grateful to get to know you more.
I love it. I appreciate it. You know what? So if I'm looking to the side, I'm looking at my little notes over here, so I'm not distracted. All for y'all thinking I'm distracted. I'm not. I'm staying on track because I don't know about. So I can get long-winded. Can you?
Yep.
Okay, so we're gonna stay on track today. All right, perfect. So first of all, like I said, I gave you a little bit intro, little nuggets of who you are. But if you don't mind, tell us like who's Aubrey, where you from, what's going on, kind of a little background on you.
Cool. So I am a social media manager. I started my own business this year, but previously had a partnership. But I've had a lot of years of experience in social media management. I graduated, I'm originally from Kentucky, graduated which not a lot of people know. My parents tell me I need to tell everybody that, but I'm a little bit humble about it. But I think that it does, speaking into the whole topic of this, it says a lot because I was willing to work hard in college, hard enough for those who don't know, summa cum laude is graduating 4.0 all 4 years. So never had anything below an A, which to me, like, I don't know, it came, I don't want to say it came easily, but I was just super driven, super motivated, really focused on school. And it just, I wasn't like determined to get all A's. It just happened. So I was very grateful for it. And it looks great on a resume, but yeah.
Sure does.
Yeah, with my degree in media and broadcasting from a school called Northern Kentucky University. I'm originally from Kentucky. I'm an only child. Both my parents moved to Florida, and I was like, well, I'm going to follow you because you're my best friends. So
that's awesome.
We're all going to hang out in Florida together. So that's kind of how I ended up here back in 2018. So it's crazy to think 2018's been like, what is the math on that?
Yeah, I know. 7 years ago. Yeah. 7 years ago. That's crazy.
7 years. So I'm not originally a Floridian, but I consider myself one now. I think it's been long enough to say that I've lived in Florida enough.
Yeah, I think the unwritten rule is 5 years. It takes like established roots and call it home. So you're past that. You're sweet. You're good. Exactly. Yeah, you're awesome. You said something that is completely off the agenda here. So I'm gonna ramble for a teeny bit. I was just having a conversation with my wife this morning about something you just said. It has nothing to do with entrepreneurship, has nothing to do with work. It has to do with family.
Yeah.
You said I followed my parents to Florida because, hey, you guys are my best friends.
Mm.
Wow. And I love to hear that.
Yeah.
That tells me a lot about you. It tells me a lot about your parents and what you value. That means a
Thank
lot to me as a business partner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As a client of yours. You know what I mean? That's a
Yeah.
lot because and my wife and I we had this conversation because we heard the opposite from someone recently, and it was sad to hear. I know I'm rambling, but this has a point to with you.
No, I
I,
like to hear it too.
I love what you said because I heard the opposite. My wife did, and she told me about it. Where this lady said about her kids, she said, "Yeah, I remember when my kids were doing little 'I love you' things like my daughters just did for us." And she said, "But my kids are older now; they're in their upper 20s, early 30s, and I don't know, they don't want nothing to do with me now." So,
Oh my gosh.
right now, that's heartbreaking. It's like,
Yeah.
yo. So my wife and I had this healthy discussion, like, where does that come from?
Yeah.
Like, what happened? Now we know people are people, families are families, and all types of things, but it really makes you wonder,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, but what's really cool, there's no wonder about the Zettler family.
No.
Like, you guys are besties.
Yeah.
That's so
Sometimes a
cool.
little annoying to my friends because they just came to my birthday party last week. My friends are like, "Your parents are here." I'm like, "They're cool. It's fine."
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
Hey,
exactly.
hey, mom, dad, fist bump, guys.
Yep.
Seriously,
Yep.
seriously, I love that because guess what? I'm going to my kids' birthday parties,
Yeah.
so do
Yep.
know that's awesome, man. So
We'll
anyway,
never
look,
stop.
but I love that. I think that says a lot about you. So if you're a person at the end of this, you're intrigued about what Aubrey does in her business, and you're saying, what is she an integral person? What is she like when interacting with people? Well, you just heard it. This says a lot, man. Like even for me, like as a current client, I'm like, that's valuable gems right there.
Aw,
Like
thank you.
it's
Thank
true
you for
though.
learning through the podcast.
But it's true though. It's
Yeah.
like that means a lot. Like for
Yeah.
instance, okay, let's flip it for a quick second. Let's say you were like, "Hey, I'm from Kentucky. I'm a smart person. I got a 4.0 all the way through college, high school, whatever, this, that, and the other. And my parents and I have a terrible relationship, but that's cool. I got a lot of good friends though, and
Yeah.
flag tech. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It
Yeah.
hits different.
Yeah.
So I love what you said, and kudos to you guys, you and your besties, the mom and dad of the fam. That's awesome. So all right, continue. So let's
I'm
let's
gonna
get
show
back
them
to let's
this,
get
by
back
the
point.
way.
What's
They're
that?
definitely gonna, I'm gonna show them this. They're gonna love to hear it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I already gave them a fist bump, so
Yeah.
there you go.
Yep.
I assume they were.
I'll record their fist bump back.
There you go. There you go. There you go. I love it. Cool. So all right. So you talked about your journey up into Florida, and you were in a partnership before,
Yep.
and now you own your own business.
Yes.
That is a common trajectory for a lot of entrepreneurs, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's you learn a lot of things. Talk about the great things that you pulled, you extracted. Because some things, even if you have a challenging situation or good, you still take away some things from it, right?
Right.
Can
Right.
you go like talk about entrepreneurship transition? Like what was that like for you? Were you
Yeah.
scared?
Yeah. It
Were
was.
you all that stuff? What was that transition like?
I'll never forget November of 2024. It's like the
Okay.
start of the movie or something. I didn't know everything was gonna come to a head as quickly as it did, but there's really no easy way to rip the band-aid off of a partnership. I When I tell the story, I tell a lot of people it feels almost like a divorce because you do
Mm,
actually, I didn't realize going into, the whole technical terms of it, but it's like dissolution of a partnership where a divorce is also called dissolution of a marriage. So
right.
similar aspects where you have one other end, different opinions, people trying to see things through, and then you also have the I guess collateral of your current clients, what to do. You want the process to be easy for the people that you're working with because they're your clients. You don't want to just be like, hey, so we're peacing out, good luck with your social media, figure it out. So that was probably the hardest transition for me, is making sure that the process was smooth for everybody else. um, my previous business partner, he wasn't really in this field, so he's not continuing the marketing. So people had an option to either go with me or find somebody else.
Okay.
So that was probably the hardest part, is having to break the news to people and then being like,
Mm,
well, what's this going to look like? What's the next couple of months? But In reality, I think like my fear and my anxiety was more than what it actually was. It's just a lot of steps, a lot of extra hours, late nights, just
Sure.
figuring out your whole processes by yourself. That was like in reality the hardest part, but it made the process and the transition smoother for the clients. So I was overall pretty proud of myself because it was a seamless transition in my opinion. I think you could probably ask some of my clients and they feel the same way.
That's beautiful. So that, and I think that asking your clients, right, and the fact that they came with you,
Yeah.
that says a lot because they had an option, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I'm a like ding, ding, ding every time I hear a gym. Like, that's
Right.
huge. You
Yeah.
had your clients had the option to move on, find someone else, or go with you, and they chose to go with you.
Yeah.
That is, you told me that when we first met,
Hmm.
and I never, made it known to you, but I said, okay, people don't follow trash like in herds.
Yeah.
Now you might have a person or two, right,
Yeah.
that is oblivious, but a herd of people don't follow
Yeah.
track. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So that says a lot about your business and how, like, I'll call it your bedside manner, if you will,
Mm.
like with your clients, how you take care of people, and people are like, no, that's too good. I'm not leaving that. I need to.
Yeah.
Where you going? I'm going too.
Yeah.
That's
No,
all.
that's something I do pride myself in. I might be jumping the questions a little bit, but I
Huh?
made a note earlier that one of my favorite things feedback wise that I get from clients is that we're not like any other marketing company. Like not any other, there are definitely some with integrity, but a lot of them out there, you hear all of these promises, unrealistic expectations. We're going to guarantee you 100,000 followers and all you have to do is who
Right.
knows what. But
Right.
I'm there, I'm a real person, I'm local to Brevard County, so a lot of our clients are in Brevard County, but I mean I can have Zoom calls, it's social media, it's digital, so you don't have
Yes.
to
Anywhere.
be in
Yeah.
person, but I'm
Right.
still a face that you can talk to. I'm not going to send you to some automated voice messaging system where you can't get a hold of anybody and you're frustrated.
Right.
I know how that feels.
Yes.
So as a business owner, I make sure that I'm client facing and actually putting my time, energy, and heart into this. And it shows for itself. And I love that kind of feedback from people where they can tell that I care.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so, and I love the fact that you do care.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna point out another thing. We're gonna jump around. We got a list of questions, but we're gonna jump around.
Yeah.
I love what you said. Like, with all these, not all, some other companies may make promises. They overpromise, right, and they underdeliver. What I love about our interaction is that you didn't promise me anything other than you would do the work.
Mhm.
That's all you promised.
Yep.
You would do the work, and you will be consistent, you will communicate, and the results are going to be the result of the what? Work.
Exactly.
Like, you didn't come in, hey, I promise you this and I promise you that.
Yeah.
And then you're like, BS, like
Yeah.
what?
But
Yeah, yeah, I love that.
yeah. No, I almost say I like to do the opposite, under promise, over deliver,
Sure,
because
sure.
there's nothing that bothers me more than over promising, because that creates almost a level of anxiety for me that I feel like I have to reach these unachievable goals, because
Sure.
anybody in social media management knows it's impossible to just gain 100,000 followers in whatever this crazy amount of time is. It has to be a natural progression. And I mean, there is, potential for virality, and then all of a sudden you start to get that increase, but that doesn't happen to everybody. And so a lot of
Sure.
people think, "Oh, I'm going to be that diamond in the rough and all of a sudden I'm going to just go viral." But that's
Mhm.
not a guarantee, and like you said, consistency is key. The natural progression of your social media will just speak for itself.
So I want to talk from an entrepreneurship standpoint. We're
Yeah.
already on it, but I want to dig a little deeper. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, some people would have a old partnership and they would say, "Oh man, that didn't work for whatever reason," or just it's just time to
Mhm.
transition, and they don't transfer over to or transition to entrepreneurship. They transition to another partnership or another job. Like, but for you, with you being an only child and the
Mhm.
dynamics of that we talked about before, like
Yeah.
what about entrepreneurship? You said, you know what, that's the move.
Yeah.
That fits me. Like, why does it fit you?
Oh, that's a great question. So try not to be long-winded because I can tell this story
Go
forever.
ahead, girl. We got time. Let's go ahead.
I definitely struggled, and I think a lot of people can relate to this because I have a lot of friends, my age and younger that can't figure out what they want to do in their career and just moving forward. And yes, I graduated college summa cum laude, but then I started thinking, well, now what? Like, what does this mean? I have this degree, and then I moved, which moving from one state to another, all of the networking connections and, professors who loved me and I could have gotten a job in Kentucky, that's gone. They're like, oh, I don't know anybody in Florida. Figure it out. So I was applying on Indeed, LinkedIn, and you're just another number, and it was really hard and stressful. So I was lucky to get any job I could.
Yeah.
I got a couple of those, 9 to 5 in an office that doesn't have any windows, and you get a 30-minute lunch break, and you got to
Yeah.
quickly scarf down your food and get back to the desk. And
Yep.
I mean, that works for some people, but for me, it just wasn't my thing. So from very early on, I knew that I needed to do something different. I just didn't know what that was. So I'm grateful for my partnership in terms that it taught me what, being a business owner is like.
Sure.
I learned, you are flexible, but you have to be, time management oriented and structured and self-driven, and you could take the whole day to yourself and do whatever you want, but you shouldn't do that because you're a business owner. You need to get stuff done. So
Uh-huh.
it's loosey goosey, but you really have to, I don't know like the right term, but keep on your own track.
Right.
um
It's discipline. It's di-
exactly.
it's
Yes.
discipline. It's
Self-discipline.
and you said it earlier. You have to pick your hard,
Yeah.
and what I mean by that is either your
Yeah.
hard of the like your situation was
Mhm.
cubicle, no windows,
Mhm.
30-minute lunch, whatever. Get back at it. That for you, that was like, okay, that's one hard. Then there's
Yeah.
a second hard. It's like, okay, I don't know anyone in Florida really. I have these degrees. I think I'm fairly smart. I do have ability, but I have to start a business. Okay, how do you do that? Okay, I can do
Yeah.
that. I figured that out. Boom, boom, boom. So both are hard.
Yeah.
You gotta choose your hard though.
Yes, I have definitely heard that before. You hear about, choose your hard. You can either eat healthy and be healthy and
Mhm.
active. That's a version of hard, or you can be lazy, gain weight, and then it's hard on another scale. So
Yep.
it's
Yep.
exactly like that. But
I love that. That is
yeah,
so good. So now that you're an entrepreneur, let's talk about some of the lessons.
yeah.
Like, what didn't you expect? Let's talk about that. Like, what
Um,
blindsided you upside the head? You're like, oh
ooh,
crap,
you
what
know
is that?
what? Taxes.
Oh, yeah.
Taxes,
Oh, uncle. Oh,
taxes.
uncle got you. Oh, Uncle Sam.
Payroll, all that stuff. I did not I've only been on the other side of that. You
Sure.
get your paycheck, bada bing, bada boom, next
Yeah.
week,
Keep
whatever.
it
But
moving.
now paying people, having to take out chunks of money for taxes, and I'm lucky to have an accountant now because at first I was just like, what do I do? Trying to figure it out.
Sure.
That was, yeah. You got to be careful. You don't want to mess with the IRS.
No, you do not. No, respect it. Respect it. You got to respect it and take
Yeah,
care of your business. Absolutely. Okay, so that's one phenomenal lesson is the financial infrastructure of a business and being
yeah,
self-employed, owning your business. Completely different responsibility when you're driving a car versus taking a nap in the back seat.
yep. 100%. That is such a good analogy. That's amazing.
It's
Yeah,
true though. Like
yeah, yeah.
it's crazy, man. And some people say, "I'll be an entrepreneur." You're like, are you sure?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's now, just like you said, in entrepreneurship is not for everyone. Being an employee is not for everyone. You got to find your rhythm, the thing that
Yeah.
you're built for, thing you jive with, and that's all cool.
Right.
So both are needed.
Yeah.
Both are needed.
Mhm.
So you chose drive the car,
Yep.
okay? And then you brought some people in the car.
Mhm.
You brought some people in. Now it's not just you, there's people that work with you.
Yeah.
What's that like?
That is challenging, but I will say so much more rewarding than it is challenging.
Oh,
Like I
for
said,
sure. Yeah,
it
yeah.
that
Well,
whatever.
hold on. Let me ask something. When you hired the right people.
Exactly. Exactly. I know.
There
I
we
was just gonna say kudos to my two employees. One of them was one of my best friends before
go. Sure.
hiring her. So
Mhm.
that's a really interesting dynamic
Yeah.
because we still are best friends. We hang out externally from work. We pretty much talk 24/7 between work and then just being friends. But
Yeah.
it works for us, and I wouldn't say that every friendship that I have that would work for. It's just, you know, our ability of communication. She
Mm,
handles you know, feedback really well. Some people I feel like I would give them feedback and they'd probably not want to be my friend anymore. So she's just it works really well. And then my other employee we found actually through, you know, a Facebook group. I was looking to hire somebody else and
nice,
she has
nice.
become a friend through working with me. So they
That's
both
awesome.
I consider really good friends
Yeah.
more than just employees, which I think is a good relationship that anybody wants to have with anybody they work with. So,
That's awesome. That's awesome. And obviously, when you're working with people, you learn a lot. It sounds like you have a phenomenal employees, though.
mhm,
I see your Instagram feeds, and I assume these are the ladies that are in
yeah,
all the stories and post. Yeah,
yeah,
you guys look like you're having a blast
yeah,
24/7. So,
yeah. We are sometimes too much.
yeah,
Sometimes our meetings turn into happy hour, and we gotta get back and get focused.
ain't nothing wrong with being happy. Ain't nothing
Yep.
wrong with being happy. So, all right. So now that we're here, we got employees, we're kicking, you're learning lessons. I want to talk about fulfillment. You know, there's a fulfillment, I believe, with entrepreneurship, hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's the goal, at least fulfillment, because you get into it, right? I know it's got to be your journey like mine. Like when you get into entrepreneurship, you said, this is my heart, I'm gonna choose. And I
Mhm.
know if I stay committed and consistent and I do my part, I will find fulfillment on the other side.
Yeah.
For you, my question is, what is that fulfillment? What does that look like? When was that moment, and what is it that just really gets you excited to wake up for the next day, to for the day and get after it again?
Yeah.
Like, where are you at? Which is, yeah, what's the good
Yeah.
stuff?
So I feel like there's two different sides to the fulfillment. I thought
Mm,
about this. So fulfillment career wise and you know, within my company, I
yeah.
feel so happy, you know, waking up every day thinking about what I'm gonna do for other businesses. It's one of my employees actually said this. She's like, I love this job because it's my creative outlet. I love,
There you go.
and
Yeah.
that's so true. She hit the nail on the head with that because I'm like, you know, I don't feel like I'm working a lot. Like it all just feels fun because
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it's social media management. Some people don't even really take that very seriously, but it is
Good.
actually, you know, work, but it's fun to schedule. It's I have a little bit of like a you know how they say you're either mathematically brained or artistically. I'm
Sure.
like
Yep.
the great combo of both, which
Okay.
is needed in social media management because you have to look at those analytics. You have to, you know, calculate certain numbers at certain times, but then you
Mhm.
also are using that creative artsy side to edit videos, go out and record, you know, edit graphics on Canva. So you get that creative outlet and then you can also organize and, you know, plan and manage. And I love pretty much every single aspect of it. So it's not like I wake up every day like, oh, I gotta work. It's like, oh, what do I get to do today? So that is one side of it, but then the other side is also the client facing side. I really like making my clients happy. I love that positive feedback. I think everybody, you know, enjoys a good review, but sometimes I'll like look back and read the reviews and I'm like, "Oh, I'm so happy that I made their business shine online." Like it just, you know, I don't know, it's very rewarding. I personally love to make other people happy. I
Yeah.
think that that sounds cliche or corny, but I'm a little bit of a people pleaser, so when I see that, it's just really rewarding for me.
Well, you have a service and a product that what's the
Yeah.
service, I guess, that you're providing.
Yeah.
And if you want to stay in business, you better make them happy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, for real.
Can't have much
You better.
bad clients.
Yeah, I mean, call it what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like if Mondo and other, dozens of people that you have on the books, if they're not happy,
Right.
then there is no business.
Yeah. Pretty much.
So that maybe your business caters to just how you're naturally wired.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
That's not
very
bad.
fulfilling.
That's not bad. Yeah, exactly. So, okay. So I love this. And you already addressed the next question regarding like, what would your clients say about you? But I think we hit that a little bit because people followed you when you left and started
Yeah.
your own thing. And
Yeah.
then even now, some of the feedback that you get in the reviews and things like that. So, we don't have to park there, but I would like for you to encourage people that are, they have businesses. So they're fellow entrepreneurs, but not in your field.
Hmm.
They're like maybe what I do or someone else, they're,
Right.
financial services or catering or whatever, real estate, whatever.
Yeah.
And I know you've heard this, well, I, I don't need social media management. I can manage it. I got it. Well, no, I have a Facebook page. I understand social media. Or Well, you know what? I just paid to upgrade my account, so I think I'm good. I don't need social media, man. Okay, I'm being a little silly here, but
No.
I know you've heard some of this stuff.
Oh,
What,
all the time.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, what would you say to someone who is a business owner
Mhm.
looking to brand themselves, brand their business, market, and even scale? What is the importance today of social media management to that person?
That's a good, you already said part of my answer, which
Okay.
is branding. So, a good way that I've described it to people lately, because a lot of people either think they don't need social media management at all, or they think that they just want to start running ads. They're like, let me start running ads. I don't care about, management posting,
Mhm.
all that. I just want to get clients. I want leads. But personally, the way I like to do things and the way I think that you're going to get the best organic flow is through actual social media management. We talked about consistent posting. You want to be posting at least 2 times a week. You don't want to overdo it and go crazy, but I would say a good consistent posting per week along with brand management. So when you said branding, you have that brand voice. Every client I have is different. And I almost feel like I'm like a chameleon whenever I go to sit down to schedule or when I'm doing engagement management for each
Mhm.
client because,
Mhm.
one is an HVAC person and he
Okay.
has a whole different, um, you know, brand tone, brand voice than maybe this kitchen remodeler. And they seem like they would be similar, but they're not. They're just two completely different companies
Mhm.
with completely different missions
Mhm.
and different voices. And that alone, I think when you look at yourself as a consumer, I like sometimes take myself out of social media management and I'm scrolling and I'm like, oh, like, look at that company. You go to their page and they don't really have, it's just bleak, bland. There's no
Right.
personality.
Right.
Immediately, I feel like you lose credibility by not having that brand voice.
Right.
So for me, I feel like that is actually the most important first step. And then obviously, you're going to want to run ads and
Yeah.
start collecting those leads if that's something that you want. But some people, I actually have some clients that are like, you know what? I just want that presence. They understand the importance of marketing. Sometimes I compare it like a billboard. Some people will pay thousands of dollars a month for a billboard, and that's no guarantee that someone's going to call you or come into your restaurant or XYZ, but it's that repeat marketing. They're seeing it on a billboard, they're seeing it on Facebook, they're seeing you on Instagram. It's,
Mhm.
as many touch points as that person can see your business or your company
Yeah.
is great for your business. So I feel like I'm like all over the place on what
No,
you
you're not.
but I feel like there's just such an importance, especially nowadays. I mean, I think the younger generation understands. And ironically, when I started this, I thought I'm going to help older generation people who don't exactly understand social media. But
Mhm.
those are actually the lesser of my clients because they don't really see that importance. The younger generation is most of my clients
Oh,
because they
okay.
see the importance. They just don't have the time management. So they're like, you take the reins. I don't feel like dealing with this, which is interesting. So,
Hey,
yeah,
that
so
makes me feel personally very good about myself right now
yeah, because
because
you're young.
because I'm the young guy.
Yeah, you are.
Not really, I'm 48, but but
But you look
yeah.
good.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
You're
And
welcome.
that's cool that you said that because I hear, okay, well, you know what? Forget that. Let's talk about what I hear. Let's talk about what you and I've talked about.
Mhm.
I'm down. I'm down to say to tell everyone what I told you. Say, look, okay, and we made a recent pivot,
Mhm.
right? And we've had to make some adjustments because of what I needed. I'm like, all right, and here's kind of what my thought process was. All right, we made a pivot, or even when we got in, started doing business, it
Yeah.
was because I needed someone who was better at it than me, and someone who had more of the time and expertise more than I had.
Mhm.
Because that's not my core business. My core business is not social media.
Yeah.
My core business is financial services.
That's actually like a tagline that I've used before when I've
Yeah.
posted on my page or run
Yep.
ads for AZ Social Media Management is let us run your social media so you can get back to doing what you do best in your business.
Exactly. You're
As a
giving me
business.
time back.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
giving me time back. And that is so valuable to everyone, but especially to me. Like it
Yeah.
is valuable. The fact that I don't have to sit there and
Right.
schedule all these things or create everything or think about the trends and the this and that. I'm like, my gosh, man, I have too many other things to be concerned with.
Right.
So the investment is phenomenal because I'm getting life back.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's something that's doable. I'm not rocket science. It's a doable
Right.
thing. It's just taking that. weight off of your shoulders and giving you your time back. And like you said, that is just a huge value in time.
So I'm gonna flip the coin for a second. Let's call it what it is. Why don't people hire you? I know it's kind of obvious because like, well, it's the
Yeah.
opposite of what you guys just said.
Yeah.
Well, it comes down one, I think, to control.
Yeah.
If
Oh, yeah.
a lot of entrepreneurs, I mean, because you and I, we've talked about our personal journeys
Mhm.
of too much control and not delegating enough,
Mhm.
right? And that's usually the story, common story of entrepreneurs, right? Is it's my baby, it's mine, 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 mine. Sound like a toddler. It's mine, 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 right? and,
Yeah.
and it's like, look, you look, you're gonna get further together.
Mhm.
Okay, you might move fast by yourself, but you're gonna get further together.
No, that's really good.
And so it's like, all right, let me delegate because I'm not, I mean, I understand the basics, but she's better at it. Her and her team are way better. They have the time, they have the acumen, they have the experience, they have the want to.
Mhm.
That's big. I don't have the want to in social media.
Yeah. And we notice that with a lot of business owners. They'll
Mhm.
they'll start posting. They're like, I can do this on my own. And then you look at the page, they stopped posting in like 2020. They're
Yeah, it's
like,
like
oh,
you
and then
need
they
to stop
posted
doing
again
it
like
on your own.
2021. Yeah. They whenever they think about it, they post. And that's not how that works, you know?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And so I see that a lot. And there's other areas where, I've had to grow as an entrepreneur, as a business owner to say, you know what, I need to delegate. And I want to go back to a skill set I think you possess as well as your whole team. And it's huge with entrepreneurs. So this is more, it's not even a question, more of us just chopping it up. Let's
Mhm.
talk about entrepreneurship, resourcefulness, the need to be resourceful.
Oh
Ooh,
yeah.
I threw you a curveball. It's not even on our little list here.
It
So
is funny that you said that
yeah.
because my whole life, my family, going back to my parents, they're so resourceful just in life.
Mm,
My mom is
okay.
a coupon flipper. You know, we figure out how to, yeah, fist bump mom.
That's right.
And she taught my dad. He was a little bit, they tell the story. They dated since they were like 16. So
Oh,
he kind
beautiful.
of grew
Mhm.
up with her and she was way more frugal than he was. And he's like,
Yeah.
yeah, if it weren't for your mom, I don't know where I would be financially. So
Hey, way to give props where props is due, pops.
exactly.
There
Yeah.
you go.
So, I mean, it's just funny you mentioned resourcefulness because, my whole life I've taken after my parents in that. And not to say I'm cheap, but I have definitely been the friend who will use a coupon and I'm not ashamed of it. I will take a to go box. I won't leave my food there to waste it. I make use of the resources I have and I continue to use them because now that to go box is lunch for the next day and I don't have to go buy lunch again. So,
Mhm.
in that same aspect of money and saving that wise, I do that, just it's my mindset within my business. So if I'm paying for a service like Google or something, and this actually happened the other day, they upgraded and they're like, you're going to pay a little bit more for your Google email, but we've added in this AI integration. And I started actually reading the email of what more I can get because I'm going to pay more inevitably. But now
Mhm.
it can create some automatic Excel spreadsheets, like some tables. So I'm like,
Mhm.
I can utilize that for my analytics. And
Work it. Yeah.
yeah, any way that I can resource what I already have. And
Mhm.
I don't know if that's exactly what you were like
No,
asking
it is.
for, but
No, it's
yeah,
utilizing it's two actually two directions. So
yeah,
that's one is utilizing what's in front of you
yeah,
and maxing it to the gills, like to just the fullest, just going hard at it. Right.
right.
There's some people that will be presented something like, say, the Google thing.
Hmm.
I'll just pay more,
Yep,
not realizing they've got these two sweet features that will actually help you scale your business.
exactly.
But because you're like, then you don't even, and then later on, you're like, man, I wish there was a service that
Right.
actually will help me scale. And you're like, you've been paying for it for the last 11 months.
Yep.
So,
Exactly.
okay. And how do I know that? Because I've done it before. There you
Yep.
go.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Happens.
yeah, not doing it again. But there's another side too, which I think is the better conversation is about pivoting.
Hmm.
As an entrepreneur, you're constantly pivoting
Yes.
and being adaptable and flexible. We talked about this a lot at our last meeting.
Yeah.
So speak about that. Like as far as pivoting, what have you learned now being a business owner versus having a partner or working at other JOBs or whatever? How important is that? What has it taught you just as a person, as a woman in
Yeah.
life, like about pivoting and adapting?
Well, that's a really good question. I naturally do feel like I'm adaptable. I think I use the term chameleon for,
Yeah.
speaking for each brand and their voice. But
Sure.
in terms of like, entrepreneurship wise, I definitely have pushed myself to my limits that I didn't even know existed, which is really cool.
Mm,
I
yeah.
didn't know that I was able to pivot like this. I just, you're taught structure your whole life in school, and I think that's where I had that gap of like, okay, I graduated college, now what? And I
Mm,
felt like I had to go into a career where somebody told me what to do, and I just followed the steps and instructions and directions, and that's fine, like I said, for some people, but now that I've pivoted this way, I can't imagine going back the other way. And it
mm.
in terms of pivoting and adaptability, that's like an everyday thing as an entrepreneur and a business owner.
Or what you
It,
said. That's right.
you
Yeah.
literally, I think before we started this call, said you had your day planned out to be one
Mhm.
way, and then you get a call from a client and it just throws the whole day for a loop, which
Yeah.
I mean, that's almost every day for me. And that's fine. You take your schedule. I use Google Calendar like it's my Bible, and I just rearrange things, and I ask people, hey, can we reschedule this? And I try and stay, consistent with meetings and things, but sometimes,
Sure.
priority wise, you're going to have to adjust. But yeah, it's like pivoting is every day, every minute, every hour.
Yeah, and that's essential. I was there on a call recently, and there was a lady that said something about her personality. In the beginning, she said what she was doing for a living, and then she said, I have aspirations to be an entrepreneur, own my business, this, and that, and the other. Well, later in the conversation, she brings up more about her personality, how she's wired, and then
Mhm.
she says, I really don't like surprises. Um, and to me, I'm like Scooby Doo, like roll, like this ain't going a good direction. And but I'm quiet. I'm sitting back chilling, and she's like, I don't like surprises. I really don't like to like be. She said I'm flexible, but I got to think about it for a while.
Mm,
It just kind of depends.
yeah,
I like a predictable agenda system, and I want to stick to it. That gives me comfort,
yeah.
and that's cool. Look, I'm not bagging the lady. That's what the challenge was later in the conversation. I asked her to unpack that a little bit.
Mhm.
It's kind of like saying like I want to be a scuba diver, but I don't like water.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean? That's how I heard it,
yeah,
right?
totally.
And I'm like, help me understand that. Like you want to be an entrepreneur. So do you? So let me ask you this: what is your understanding of entrepreneurship? Like what are your expectations of this business that you want to create and have in the market? What is your expectation of that? Not the results. I'm talking about the function, the
Yeah,
infrastructure, like the day-to-day operating part, like that. And what she said was her wiring. And I'm like, ooh, I didn't kick back anymore. I left her alone. But you hear what I'm saying? Like this,
yeah.
you can't have if you're that kind of way like this lady, entrepreneurship may not be your thing. Not saying you can't, but you're gonna have to grow, stretch, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you said something powerful. I didn't know how, would you say, how
Push myself,
adaptable?
my limits.
Pushing
But
myself,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
and you really don't find out what you're made of until you test it.
yeah, yeah.
Give us one thing, if you don't mind, because I know we could probably go out 10. Give us one thing where you were tested and you were proud of yourself. You were like, girl, go ahead, fist bump myself. Like, what was one thing in your business where it hit you? You were like, what the?
Yeah.
And you gather yourself, you pivot, you test it, you get through it, and then you look at it like, wow,
You feel relieved and proud. Yeah.
yeah. So give us one thing if you don't mind. I'm gonna poke a little bit. Like,
Man, you're right. I think that for me, going back to me being a people pleaser, and as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, you're not always going to have 100% positive feedback. You're not always going to please everyone, no matter how hard you try.
sure, yeah,
There's a saying that I think I heard recently where you can be the sweetest peach on the tree or whatever, but some people just don't like peaches. So that's kind of an instance that I ran into. And I hate having awkward, uncomfortable conversations. I hate confrontation just naturally as a person. It just makes me crawl in my skin. I like to be adaptable and make people happy. So I had to have a conversation with somebody who, long story short, they thought they were running ads. They weren't on a package level where they were, because we need to know your ad spend budget. We're not going to go
sure,
spending your money
Yep.
without you telling us how much. So he's like, why am I not getting leads? I'm like, well, you're not running ads. And long story short, he was really frustrated, and we had to have a phone call, and I was like, I do not want to do this. This is going to be horrible. Like, he's going to yell at me. He's going to fire
Mhm.
me. And
Mhm.
I ended up somehow turning that whole phone call conversation, and he bumped up his package to, include ads. And,
Good for you.
I did give him, a credit towards, some additional stuff we can do for that miscommunication. And I
Mhm.
just feel like customer service wise and business owner wise, I handled that really well, and in a way that, like, I literally couldn't have planned for how that conversation would have gone, because I had no
Mhm.
idea what he was going to say to me on the phone. So it's like there's only so much planning and prepping you can do for a conversation like
Yeah.
that. But at the end
Yeah.
of it, I was like, oh my gosh, I not only saved that account, but he's happy and everything's better. And it just went from like dread to relief. And I am really happy and proud that I pushed myself to do that, because I could have just been like, well, see ya, and let him fire me.
How mature of you. I have to give you some flowers real quick, if you don't mind.
Thank you.
The time I've been in business over a couple decades, easy. I told you how old I was.
Mhm.
Um, most people run from that.
Yeah.
They tuck tail, they duck, or they completely, not to be crass, but they completely bend over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they get to a point where they're over serving the situation,
Yeah.
and it's a detriment to their business.
Exactly.
But you didn't do that.
Mm.
There was a fine line that you said, look, I'm an integral person. I'm going to treat this individual right, but I need to also make sure that our company's treated fairly as well.
Yeah.
How can we both win?
Yeah.
Even in the midst of frustration, in the midst of misunderstanding, two different levels of expectation. You're on the package, he's on something else,
Yeah.
which is fair. That happens sometimes,
Yeah.
right?
Totally.
Happens sometimes. But for you to be able to make, Kool-Aid out of something really sour,
Yeah.
why I keep bringing up food? Anyway, this is drinks,
I'm
but
hungry.
maybe I'm hungry. But that's a, to commend you on that, because that is something as a business owner, a lot of people, they actually honestly suck at.
Mhm.
They're not good at walking into the heat and handling the business.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, well, how can I get around it? How can I? No, 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 no. You started this, right?
Yep.
You better walk into it, walk straight
Yep.
into it, and handle the business, whether you're going to agree or agree to disagree, but you didn't run from it.
Right.
Because
Right.
you can't tell other people what to do or how to think. They're going to do what they want, but we can control what we can control ourselves and how we approach it. And so I commend you. And you did something. Entrepreneurs, listen to this. If you're like, man, that's awesome. I could take a note from that. Yeah, it's like, learn how to walk into the heat. Don't run
Mhm.
from it. The second thing is, you said, I think was powerful. I want to extract this. Is, you said, I even gave him some pricing consideration as a part of how to continue the relationship. You gave him a price break on something, however you worded it,
Mhm.
right? What was it that you said? You gave him a what?
I gave him kind of like a small, like, additional feature with his package. So I was
Yeah.
like, no, we'll continue doing this for an adjustment. I don't know exactly how I
Yeah. But the point is, you did
but
something for him that you
yeah.
didn't have to do.
Yeah.
He didn't ask you,
Mhm.
you offered it.
Mhm.
That right there is killer. That is customer service, that is taking care of your people, that's going above and beyond. It is
Yeah.
saying, look, you know what? Our relationship, you as a person, this means I respect where we're going much more than where we are right now.
Right.
So it's not going to kill me in my business to offer something at a pricing consideration, whether it's discounted, whether it's free, whatever it is.
Mhm.
And let's gather ourselves, get on the same page, make
Right.
sure we're on the same page and move forward. Like, versus catching the attitude because he's got an attitude.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can
Or-
only say that being fully transparent, when I was younger, I would catch an attitude
Mhm.
because I would feel, Aubrey, like, for real, if there was a misunderstanding, I almost took it personal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you're viewing me. I'm not that kind of person. I'm
Right.
really nice and I'm really integral and I do that. When you don't see it this way, blah blah blah, and I get all in my feelings.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would take those feelings and communicate that to the client, and it just would not pan out well.
No.
Now, here's the thing: I'm not afraid to walk into the heat,
Yeah.
but I'm bringing my feelings in there. Whoo, that is straight dynamite.
Yep.
Straight dynamite.
I'm not gonna
So
it's easy to feel frustrated when you're
Hmm.
misunderstood,
Yep.
or the person's giving you an attitude, like you said. But
Hmm.
luckily, I don't know. I think I can probably accredit it to my dad, because he worked for, going off on a tangent, but the Kroger company,
Yeah.
and he's kind of high up in there, and their
Hmm.
whole thing is, the customer's always right. And so
Yeah.
growing up, he's always taught me that. And, not in some situations, if there's something crazy going
Sure.
on.
Right. I get it. Yeah. I know what you mean.
For the most part, no matter how much you want to put your feelings out there, and you are hurt, and maybe they're saying some rude things, that it's coming from they're frustrated. They're frustrated because they feel like they didn't get what they are paying for, or XYZ. So I think it's a combination of my dad teaching me that, but also I feel like I'm an empath where I feel for other people. So
Oh,
I
okay. Yeah.
feel, my frustration, but I also can easily look at it from their side. And I'm like, why are they feeling so mad? And why are they feeling so,
Ooh, powerful.
misunderstood? Yeah. So
Powerful.
it's
Yeah.
easy to kind of set my personal feelings and my, emotions aside when I go into these conversations, because I
Yeah.
just turn into like business mode. I don't know how to explain it. Like,
No, that's
I'm not
great.
even myself.
Well, because I think being an entrepreneur, there's a visionary piece that comes with it. And I don't
Mhm.
mean a vision for your business. How about a business for I'm sorry, a vision for the moment,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's looking past this interaction at the table.
Mhm.
Like, okay, how do we get there?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go there right now, and I'm gonna reverse engineer it so I can see how we're gonna get there.
Yep.
And that's a powerful tool, especially to be a young entrepreneur. And I mean, how old are you? 30, something like that?
29.
20, not even 30.
I
I know
just turned
some
29.
I know some 48-year-olds that don't know how to do that. So kudos to you. That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
Awesome. All right. So with all that said, last question.
Hmm.
Last question. What would you tell young entrepreneurs? Someone who said, you know what, I just started a business a few months ago, yesterday, or the person that's been wanting to for some time, but they just can't cross over the hump. They just
Yeah.
for whatever they're fearful, they're nervous, uncertain, whatever. Speak to that person, give them some encouragement because there's a lot of people that want to do their thing. They just need
Yeah.
some additional love, if you will.
Yeah. Well, you just partially, I feel like a lot of the way you ask a question helps me answer it, because I actually, when you gave me the question previously, wrote
Yeah.
down my hardest part with entrepreneurship that I had to overcome, and am so grateful that somehow, some way,
Yeah.
over time overcame, was my anxiety. I got in the way of my own self. I was so scared in the beginning that this was gonna fail. The company's gonna fail. I'm gonna have to go back to corporate work. I am
Mm,
not good enough. I'm not gonna find clients. The clients are gonna fire me. Like, you just go down a whole fearful spiral, and you think, how am I gonna scale? How am I gonna sit down and do a podcast with somebody? How am I, like, every little thing that comes up, I would get anxiety about.
mm,
And I've learned to just take things day by day. Don't, like, I way overthought the future. Like, how is this going to become a money making business? It's not at first. It's going to be hard in the beginning, and you might have to work a side job while you get your business started, but you will do what it takes to make it work. And as long as you take it day by day and keep working hard, and as long as the integrity is there, and you just have, a good mindset and a good heart towards it, it's all going to work out in the end. And call it faith or call it whatever, it's weird how my fear of failure held me back, and now that I've let go, it's been so much easier. So
mm,
let go of that anxiety.
mm. It's a real thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a
It's
real
easier
thing.
said than done. It is, but
Yeah.
sometimes
Yeah.
just take it day by day.
So let me ask you, okay, this is a question, last question B. Okay. Last question B.
Yeah.
How important is a support system in this getting over the anxiety?
Oh my gosh. Huge, 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 huge. It's funny you say that, because I was at the gym the other day getting a personal training session, and they were like,
Mm,
"Who's your support system?" It's an
mm.
interesting question. And
Yeah.
I started listing a lot of people. They're like, "Okay, we get it. You have a business." You're like,
Yeah.
"All right, we only have so much space on the line to write." I'm like, "My boyfriend, my parents, my best
Yeah.
friend."
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so important, because you can ask my parents, they're gonna watch this back. You can ask my boyfriend, he's gonna watch this, and
Yeah.
it they've seen me cry. They've seen me aggravated. They've seen me working late, pulling my hair out, stressed out. They've
Of
seen the
course.
anxiety side of things, me
Yep.
literally like too scared to go to a meeting and I have to be talked
Mm,
down. My dad has had countless conversations with me because, he's
yeah.
experienced in business and
Sure. Sure.
like, you can do this. It's just a meeting. It's just this. Like,
Yeah.
worst case scenario, it doesn't go the way you thought, the support system is huge. Long,
Uh,
long answer, but
okay. I don't have a 1C. I'll leave it there.
yeah,
That's phenomenal. That's that's phenomenal. I love it. I'm glad to call you friend. Glad to call you my social media manager, specialist, expert.
yeah,
I have more words. And you and the crew. Can't wait to meet the rest of your business partners, your
yeah,
employees.
definitely.
But yeah, this is phenomenal. I know you've helped some people just by giving them hope
Yeah,
on how to start, man.
yeah,
Just how to start. I like to extract things from what you said, and one thing that really pulled out is, having an idea is one thing. You don't really build a lot of value in the marketplace with an idea that you're just thinking about, but the market will respect and value execution.
exactly.
It's
For
not here.
sure.
It's those feet. It's
Do
not
it.
here. It's those feet. Do it.
Yeah.
Um, One of the chapters, shameless plug, in my first book.
Hey,
One
that's
of this,
right.
yeah, one of the chapters is called "Do It Anyway,"
I love that.
and that's something I had to learn a while ago. That's why I put it in the book. It's a process of a mentor helped me with that. It's like when you feel that little thing, that little flutter of nervousness, those chills and this and that, or you lose your appetite or this, that, and the other, and whatever, all these little things, can't sleep. It's like, do it anyway. And you'll see how fast you get over those butterflies of that anxiety.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like, who cares? Do it anyway. Get out of your feelings, dude. This is how he would talk to me.
yeah.
Like,
Tough
who
love.
cares? Like, he's like, screw your feelings. Feelings
Yeah,
don't pay well. Do it
yeah.
anyway. I'm like, dang, bro, you ain't a hug. He's like, nope. So, yeah, but so anyway, I love this, Aubrey. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to
Thank you.
share hope, your story, who you are. Can't wait to meet your folks as well.
Yeah,
Your boyfriend and
yeah.
who else you'd
I'll have
name?
big happy
Chloe.
hour.
We need to have a cookout. We need to,
Yeah,
hey pops, we gotta have a cookout.
yeah. In your
and
backyard.
I'll and I'll bring the crew. I'll bring my whole little tribe. I got the Grimes crew over here. So,
That sounds
but
so fun.
yes, indeed. Hey guys, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button. Definitely leave a comment if you want to reach out to Aubrey. How do they get a hold of you?
You can reach out via phone, email. My email is aubrey@azsocialmediamanagement.com. It is long, so if you want to call or text me, my number is 859-815-9929. I'm, like I said, just open book, so I will
Love
accept
it.
any calls or texts.
Love it. Love it. We'll put everything in the description too. That way, if you like, hey, I can't write that fast. That's all good.
I know. Obviously, follow me on social too, but my business page, AZ Social Media Management.
Awesome. Awesome. Hey, thank you guys for joining in on another episode of the AMG Podcast. We will see you on the next episode. See ya.